everyone, welcome back to the Toal channel. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Laurient, and for today's video, I'm going to be sharing how you can be a source of support for your loved ones going through the adoption process. So as a hopeful adoptive parent, I describe the adoption process as a roller coaster. There are climbs and peaks and drops and twists and turns and loops, and you really never know what's up ahead. It's kind of like riding a roller coaster blindfolded. Like, you just don't know what's coming at you next. And there are moments when this journey feels emotionally taxing, financially taxing, and even physically taxing. There are just times when you feel exhausted and you just don't know if you can move forward. You are weary, and that strong support system behind you helps push you forward and motivates you to just keep going. And they're so important. They say it takes a village to raise a child. True. I also feel like it takes a village to get people through the adoption process. Like, that support system is vital. And if somebody trusts you enough to allow you to be part of their adoption support system, there are some things that you can do to just show your support and just be a good friend or family member to that person while they're going through this huge journey in their life. First thing I want to encourage you to do is to check in, but not too often. And I know that that sounds weird, but the way adoption works is it's a lot of hurry up and wait. So in the beginning, when you're doing your home study, you're probably corresponding with your agency or your consultant quite a bit. And then once that home study is active and you have a live profile, you're just waiting to be matched, and you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting, and you're not really hearing from anybody until they have a situation to present. And so if you asked me yesterday if I had an update and I didn't, and then you asked me again the next day, chances are my answer is the same. And that can get kind of frustrating because as a hopeful adoptive parent, we wish we had an update for you. We wish there was something we could tell you, something that was different, but there isn't. And a lot of times we're just waiting for the phone to ring. We're waiting for somebody to call us and change our lives. And it can be a little frustrating when people are checking in on you constantly. So we do want you to check in. We want to know that you care and that you're interested, but we don't want you to check in so often that it becomes frustrating because we just don't have the news to share. So number 2 is invite us to go places and do things that are going to take our mind off of the process and the wait and all of the emotions that we are feeling. We are dying to not have our lives revolve around our adoption process. We want to go out, we want to do things, we want to forget briefly that this process is a part of our everyday lives. And sometimes it's just nice to have that distraction and to just feel like yourself and not feel anxious about whether the phone is going to ring or not that day. And it really is helpful to just have people there to kind of distract you. Number 3 is to help spread the word. You never know how a adoption match is going to come to fruition. It could be through your agency or your consultant. It could be because your aunt was talking about how you wanted to adopt at the hair salon and a patron overheard and had a friend in a situation where she was looking to place. Literally, I know it sounds far-fetched, but I actually was in adoption class with people who that had happened for. And so you never know where your match is going to come from. So I think it's great for you as long as your loved ones are okay with you spreading the word, and I'm sure that they would be. Letting people know that you have this friend or this family member who is looking to adopt, and just getting the word out there. And in the same vein, if your loved ones are doing an adoption fundraiser and you can donate, that's fantastic. But if you can't, because not everybody can, you can still spread the word. Share the link on your social media accounts. Maybe let your coworkers know. There might be other people in your life that feel compelled to donate to the cause, and that would be fantastic. For example, my mom, when we were doing our t-shirt fundraiser, asked me to create a little flyer, and she hung it in the break room at her job, and a bunch of the ladies that she worked with went online and bought t-shirts and donated. And then one of her coworkers was so compelled that she made a copy of the flyer and gave it to her sister, and her sister hung it up in her work break room. And all of these people, like, I've never even met these people before, but I am so grateful for all of their support and really sharing the word, whether it be about the adoption to help find a match or about a fundraiser to help raise more money. all of that is beneficial to the couple that is adopting. My fourth and final tip for how you can be a source of support to your loved one going through the adoption process is to just offer your help. Now, this can come in so many different forms and at different periods throughout the adoption process. You know, maybe your loved one is going through a rough patch. Maybe they're having a hard time getting their home study approved. Or maybe they presented their profile 3 times and 3 times they've heard no. Or possibly they just had a failed match, and either way, your friend is really down, they're really out, and they really need you. You know, maybe you can offer to make them dinner one night during the week, or maybe you could take them out to dinner to help get their mind off of it, or just be there for them to vent. Back to fundraising, maybe they could really use your help putting together a fundraiser. Maybe you can offer to put a fundraiser together for them. Maybe they live in an apartment building and you have a house and you can do, you know, an adoption yard or garage sale and they couldn't, and you can offer to host it, or you can help, you know, donate things to their, you know, silent auction or their yard sale or whatever. You know, just look for ways to help them. Even like I said, if that just means sharing a link, that's helpful. There are a million ways that you can support a loved one's adoption process, but these are just the ones that come to my mind that I think are the most impactful and that your loved one would really appreciate. I know personally I'm really appreciative when our loved ones check in on us and ask how the adoption process is going, but then follow that up with, you know, how's work? How is married life? You know, how are the dogs? My favorite question to answer. You know, watch any good shows on Netflix lately. This way, it doesn't feel like our lives are all about the adoption all the time. We feel like we have identities outside of being hopeful adoptive parents, and sometimes it's really nice to just not have to live in the world of we're adopting, because it can kind of be lonely sometimes, especially if you don't have anyone else in your life going through it. And it can be really anxiety filled because you literally are just waiting for the phone to ring all the time. Every time my phone rings, I like stop breathing for a second and I look, and my phone usually says scam likely. And I'm like, well, thanks. Those are all the tips I have for you today. If you have any tips that you think are particularly helpful or that hopeful adoptive parents would be appreciative of, please leave them down below. I would love to hear from you. I'm sure we all would. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will speak to you guys in our next video. Bye.